Hi everyone, welcome to Honey Drops Tarot. This is a general reading for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Cancer, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. I truly appreciate it. Just a quick note, please do not fall for any scammers. I will never reach out to solicit for a private reading. I do offer private readings, and if you're interested in signing up for one of those or in making a donation, you can find that information in my Buy Me a Coffee link and my official Instagram, both listed in the About section of my YouTube page. And I thank you so much in advance. Cancer, I hope that you are doing well. It has been a rough few weeks. At the time that I am recording this, it's been a Mercury in retrograde and a moon in Cancer and a this and that and the other, and it just like I can't keep up with it, and it's knocked me out. So I'm, as a Cancer sun, it's just some days I just don't even know where I am. So I have a feeling you guys have been there too. So I am wishing you so much love to my Cancer friends. I'm gonna actually be using 3 decks for your reading today. I felt like in a little bit more of an abstract and whimsical mood. So let me show you here. For the overall energy, I'm gonna pull a card from the Wild Alchemy deck, Oracle deck, and then at the end I'll read from the book. I'm also going to pull a scroll from the I Scry Scrolls. This is Stephanie at House of Scrying. She's just an amazing channel, medium, psychic, just everything. And she's such a beautiful cosmic sister to me. And I'm so happy to use this deck on my channel. And then for the tarot portion of the reading, the Way Home Tarot, which was also given to me by a dear friend, and I haven't used it in a while, so wanted to use it. The cards have been pre-shuffled. This is for Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Angel, spirits, guides, what messages do you have, please, for Cancer? This is for Cancer. Okay. Sorry, they're oddly shaped. They're hexagonal shaped, so they're kind of, sometimes they're challenging to shuffle. There you go, thank you. All right. So, we got Coda pavonis, the peacock's tail. Look at how spectacular that is. Anytime you think of a peacock and the peacock's tail, well, Spirit just said fractals. So there could be something in the way that the peacock's tail fans out, the way that biology has created the spectacular design of the peacock's tail. It's interesting. I was watching, or rather listening to, a YouTube / podcast of Hannah Fry, who is a mathematician, has a podcast with her friend. I believe his name is John? Anyway, I don't even remember what their podcast is called, but it's Hannah Fry. She's like got really bright hair, red hair, and she's British, and she's a mathematician, and she's incredible. And they have a podcast together, and her friend John is a professor. I'm so sorry that I can't remember his last name, but they were talking about Alan Turing, the very famous also mathematician and I think scientist, researcher, who gone too soon. He was persecuted because of his sexuality, but he basically invented kind of like the modern day computer during I think World War I. I'm so sorry that I'm just not good with history, but I saw the movie with Benedict Cumberbatch and it was great. Anyway, he didn't just invent that kind of code-breaking computer. He did a lot of different kinds of research, and I think one of the research endeavors. Sorry, everyone. 719 fire truck just went by. It just turned on like in the middle of my street, the siren. That's why it kind of came out of nowhere, because you didn't hear it coming from afar. It just literally was like almost underneath my bedroom window when the siren turned on. So there's something about maybe about Alan Turing and his research that, or maybe it could be, you know, I see this rainbow pattern. It could be having to do with sexuality. Take it as it resonates. But he also did research on like leopard spots and how it, like, there's patterns and encoded into how animal prints are. I don't even know. It's terrible that I can't even really, because I was doing laundry at the same time. But the point is that there are patterns everywhere, and are we kind of cognizant enough to recognize them when they appear in front of us? That a lot of empaths are very good at pattern recognition, and some would say it's mathematics, and others would say it's divine. And you can make the judgment call on which one it is at any given moment. And I'm now looking at all the plants in my room and seeing all the fractals, and it's almost becoming too much to handle because I'm seeing it all around me now, this fractal energy. So within all that peacock's tail, Spirit gave me all of that. But it's also this sense that we're showing our peacock feathers, that we're kind of loud and proud, as it were, not afraid to shine brightly in the darkness. I'm also seeing this, you know, one could interpret it as kind of an eye, but I actually look at it and think of aircraft engine. So you could be going on a trip on a plane very soon. That could be eye-opening for you. It could be a place you've never been before that is going to maybe put some color in your world. The peacock's tail is usually the part of the animal that our eye is drawn to, and it's the part that the peacock uses in kind of mating rituals. There could be something about mating rituals. The fact that the fire truck went by, you know, really wants to highlight the message for you that you know, Alan Turing, again, he was gone too soon for some awful reasons. And they were saying on the podcast that if he had lived and if he hadn't been kind of persecuted, think of all the things that he could have invented, that he could have discovered, that his brilliant mind could have shared with the world. Advancements in science or medicine or mathematics might have been catapulted. And Spirit is giving me a little bit of that too, that there's something within you that deserves to be shared with the world because it's brilliant, because it's worthy, because it's special, and you deserve to be seen. You deserve to be seen. We pull a card from the I Scry Scrolls, the Old Soul Oracle. see what's going on here. This is for Cancer. Capricorn number 10. In this deck, number 10, the Devil, Goat, Saturn, and Earth. Goat, Saturn, and Earth. So I'm holding it this way. This is the kind of wonderful thing. You can move it any way you want. It's you're scrying into the space. Immediately I saw 2 wolves here with boxing gloves on, ready to duke it out. And here as well, although this looks like a bridge, and kind of the bridge coming down almost like London Bridge. You could be British, because I'm making a lot of, or English. I'm making a lot of references to Hannah Fry and Alan Turing and all of that. Take it as it resonates, but I see very clearly here 2 wolves going at it, boxing, sparring. You could be having some, but they don't seem really angry at each other. It's almost like, all right, good match or good game or whatever. It's almost like practice, and feels like practice, like we're inside the ring and we're sparring, we're just practicing. There's no fighting happening, but there is preparation. So you could be finding yourself, especially at the time that I'm reading this, there could be a lot of, in Mercury retrograde, everybody gets misunderstood. So there could be a lot of back and forth. But again, Cancer, what do? We're constantly transmuting energies, right? And yes, the Devil card is represented here, but it's almost like not a threat to you, because it's like, okay, you can give me your little jabs. It's fine. This is child's play. Ooh. Okay, Cancer. This is child's play. You know what? Just on a personal level, especially when I was going through my spiritual awakening, I pulled cards for myself, because this is when I used to be able to read for myself. Man, the Devil card would come out so much. It's like I could feel where he was in the deck. Until, one day it was just like, all right, we're always going to have to deal with energy like that at some point. And as long as you can say, you know what, I see you cropping up. I see you over there, but you're going to sit in the corner. Sit down and keep your mouth shut. I see you over there. It's like keeping the devil at bay. And so every once in a while, though, we have to get in the ring with the devil and just kind of spar with him a little bit. It's like, he's just like, yeah, you want to do those like self-sabotaging things, don't you? Self-sabotaging feels good. You're just like, nah, shut up. It doesn't feel good. I'm not self-sabotaging this time. And I feel that tendency to want to, but go sit down in the corner, Devil energy. I got you. I see what you're trying to do. I see how you're trying to tempt me, test me, but I'm stronger than that. And like, I'm really realizing now how much I'm meant to shine. And that's, I think, a little bit of the flavor that Cancer is getting in this reading. I'm gonna pull 3 cards for the base spread. Okay, a lot of cards just fell out. I'm gonna take them, past, present, future. And let's see. All right, 6 cards came out. I'm only taking uprights in this reading. Only uprights. Past energy, 6 of Swords. This is a beautiful deck. I forgot how beautiful this is. 6 of Swords talks about really understanding that, one, we've been in our head a little too much. We've been overthinking things, and I know you have, Cancer. I think because here you are trying to give everyone their flowers, right? It's like trying to make everyone happy and at the cost of your own happiness, which is classic. But there's something in you that realized it was too much. And so it was becoming rather chaotic for you. And you're just like, I am going to step aside. I'm going to walk away from that for a little while. It's starting to be too much. I'm starting to do too much for other people. And I like to be of service, right? The Cancer likes to be of service. I like to be of service. I want to help people. But at what cost? Right? Like yesterday, we were, where I live, I was exposed to some of the kind of wildfire burning energy, which is showing up here. And the smoke kind of wafted into my area. And, you know, I was out in it. And like yesterday, it wiped me out. You just don't realize, you don't realize how important oxygen is until you're lacking in good oxygen, right? And it wiped me out. The whole week wiped me out. And I was in bed from like 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it's one of these things where it was like, I did way too much for other people this week. And I just couldn't do anything for myself yesterday. And I kind of was upset about it, but it's, at some point, you gotta realize like where you played a part in all of that, where you could have said no, because you could have said no probably to half of it. So Spirit is just bringing that to your attention. And you are recognizing that, right? This is the past energy, and it's clarified by the Father of Cups, the King of Cups. See this kind of mossy algae water. These still waters run deep, Spirit just said. Still waters run deep. Father of Cups, King of Cups, Scorpio energy talks about, you know, somebody who is very emotionally mature, has a lot of emotional intelligence, you know, kind of keeps it on the down low. Again, a person of service, right? But recognizing, have we, you know, it's funny because he's present and not present. Like, is he becoming invisible? Have you felt like you were becoming invisible at some point? I think that you recognize that that was not a nice feeling for you, and you moved away from it, right? Six of Swords, from choppy waters to calm waters. Which is good that you recognize that. And, you know, look, not everything was in vain, because when you helped people, you helped them to grow. And I think that's what this represents. You were essentially helping other people to grow themselves, like really fostering and watering all these plants with your kind words, your kind actions, your wise counsel. And they are growing, and it is beautiful. And it's the garden that surrounds you. And yet sometimes you can find yourself in these murky waters. Not fit for swimming. Not fit for fishing. Just kind of still and murky. Right? We don't want to be murky. We want to be vibrant. Can I have a clarifier for the past energy for Cancer? Okay. I knew this card was going to come out. I knew it. I could feel it in my bones. 5 of the Major Arcana, the Hierophant card, Taurus. This is a very special card, though. What's it called? Amanita muscara. This is the mushroom that It's the mushroom that takes you places. But it grows at the base of pine trees. But if you don't handle it carefully, it can poison you. You have to handle it with care. The Hierophant in this card represents this kind of otherworldly wisdom, teacher energy, spiritual leader, shaman, thank you, Spirit. These wise teachings that come from other dimensional places, from the spirit realm. It's almost like you realized you were busy tending to everyone else's flowers, but what you really wanted to do was tend to this energy that is much more intriguing, much more fascinating. These topics, these other dimensional travel, this playing around in the Akashic records, in the dream space. Cancer is really wanting to just fall into those depths. And I think this is where you might be going. When I was shuffling this deck before I even turned on the camera, this card showed up a couple times, so I knew it was gonna fly out somewhere. This movement feels like it mirrors this movement for some reason. It's kind of upward thrust, growth. In the present energy, yeah, once you start to research, you start to read, you start to listen, you start to ask questions that are going beyond, one step beyond what you normally would, and Spirit starts to give you all these downloads and introduce you to all of this information with the Ace of Swords. And it's like the podcast I was listening to with Hannah Fry. I'm starting to listen to a lot of different podcasts, and maybe you are too, reading books that really challenge the status quo of your own life, whatever scope that entails. Ace of Swords is epiphany, breakthrough, revelation. Sorry, I'm just looking for a very specific crystal, which I don't know where it is right now, actually. Very strange. Oh, here it is. So I see this crystal. Sorry for that weird interlude, but I was looking for, and I'm thinking of this crystal specifically. So that's not a coincidence, right? Oh my gosh, they almost look, they're nearly, not exactly, nearly the same size. This crystal, keep it over here next to a picture of me and my twin flame. This is tourmaline, and it has some very small quartz inclusion. It's for protection, it's for grounding. And Spirit is showing that it's almost like whatever it is that you are learning currently, you aren't necessarily sharing it with other people. I think because you're reaching into these other realms, it's very difficult to explain to people who are not at your level. And this is not about you being better than other people. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the interests that Cancer has right now, not everyone wants to understand. Everybody's going through their lives, just trying to navigate this crazy and messed up world. And so sometimes the esoteric pursuits are not really jiving with people just trying to make ends meet. And you could be trying to make ends meet, but you're also trying to expand your consciousness. Spirit just said light as a feather, stiff as a board. Because of this feather here. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Okay, the last time that someone actually said those words to me, I was being carried. I was in a leadership training with my coworkers, and I was literally being carried by my coworkers through a hole in a net that was probably, I don't even know, like this big, like it just a very small entryway in a net. And one of my coworkers said, okay, honey, we got you, don't worry, just be light as a feather and stiff as a board. Don't move. Be very still. We got you. And these poor people had to carry all of me through this very small space without touching any of the edges. And I'm seeing that now. It's like you being carried through this portal. Cancer being carried by spirit through this portal, but like your consciousness, light as a feather, stiff as a board. We got you, Cancer. Don't worry about it. Just don't be scared. Try not to flinch. Try not to wiggle. Try not to overcompensate. Accept and surrender to what is happening. Clarified by the Ten of Wands. There goes that fire truck again, but no alarm this time, because the fire is out. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, don't take anything for granted when I read tarot. Ten of Wands can often talk about burden. See how there's this like opening here, right? You don't want to touch the sides, they're charred. Thank you, Spirit. Something, I don't know what it is about, like, you have to be careful of the edges, like the edges of consciousness. You want to be mindful. You want to be respectful. So if some of you are doing any kind of like substances or whatever, there's this, Spirit wants me to tell you, just be very mindful and very careful. And I'm not condoning that, nor am I dissuading you. I'm just saying, Spirit is saying be very mindful. The Ten of Wands is talking about burden, but it also talks about a release of burden. So finally, all the matches have gone out. We can kind of brush them to the side, and we can strike a new match. We can have a new sense of inspiration come upon us. That goes back from the Ten of Wands to the Ace of Wands. Brand new beginnings. It's kind of like with this new information, you can finally put something down. So in the current energy, lots of downloads and information, and you're just trying to make sense of it all, but it's exciting. In the future potential, though, Nine of Swords, not easy. And it's very funny because I felt like my breathing was starting to get kind of labored. And I don't know if it's the remnants of like the wildfire smoke or something. Kind of my window doesn't close like airtight. So I'm not sure if some got in, right? the particulates. It's so funny. I said the word particulates to my twin yesterday or the day before, and it just triggered him so much. I don't know why. He's like, the particles. And I'm like, no, the particulates. I don't know. There could be something to that. Nine of Swords talks about nightmare energy. Being too much in our heads. And look at it, wafting and permeating all those particulates. Just getting into every crevice. When our mind and our overthinking and our anxiety and our fear runs away with itself. We got to be careful, Cancers. Get too much into our head, we forget our heart. Four of Cups. We forget that beautiful cup that Spirit has held out for us. Four of Cups can talk about not seeing something clearly, not seeing something that's right in front of you, because it's like there's too much haze and there's too much smoke to be able to discern. Even look at this. See this energy back here? It feels like smoke, doesn't it? That's so strange. I never interpreted it like that before. Smoke and mirrors. Spirit just said. Illusions. Be careful in the future potential. In the next few weeks to months, just be careful of things that are causing you to be to see something in a person, place, or a situation that might not actually be the whole truth. Communicate as clearly as you can. I know that that's advice for me too. Can I get a card of advice from Spirit? This is for Cancer. Too many, Spirit, just one. Just one card, thank you. One card. Six of Cups. This is very beautiful. I don't know if you can tell. Let's look at it for a moment. There's a blanket here on the ground, and we're looking down at these cups filled with rosé or punch or some kind of beautiful thing. Actually, Spirit just said pink drink, which, yikes, that reminds me of the Gateway Project, the GATE program. That might resonate for somebody out there. If you resonate with the GATE program, then these cards will mean something to you about epiphanies and revelation. But for others, that's for some. If that's for you, we can talk about it. But for others, this could be just rosé, right? On a picnic blanket with little flower rings and flower crowns and just this sense of nostalgia and beauty and fond memories with people that we love. That is the meaning of the Six of Cups. And Spirit is giving that to me right now, this sense of like spending time with the people that you love, thinking back positively on all the blessings, because there have been so many, right? So keep in that, when you tend to do this, remember this. So I'm going to read from the book, The Peacock's Tail. This beautiful, colorful card. Right here. Full vision, the spectrum, inclusivity. The peacock's tail is a sacred image in alchemy. The mesmerizing display of tail feathers opens to mark the alchemist having shifted from single to multi-perspective. This is a great achievement. The alchemist has opened 1,000 sets of eyes instead of one. right? I think this vision that Spirit is giving you. They've discarded black and white thinking and allowed the full spectrum of colors, nuances, and solutions to come into the fold. Creative solutions to complex social and political polarities can be found in the sacred space. The force field of possibilities has opened, and the alchemist has entered a new paradigm belonging to multiplicity, dimensionality, and inclusion. Utilize this perspective for positive change while it lasts. When falling back into black and white thinking, as any alchemist will do, envision the splendor of the peacock's tail. Each feather contains a shimmering universe of possibility. Go deeper, it says. Watch the Wizard of Oz. Bring as much color in as you can today. Experiment. Use it as a therapeutic means of expression and a way to loosen up rigid thoughts. How beautiful, Cancer. That's your reading. I hope that it resonated. If it did, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Please hit the bell notification to be updated as to when I post new readings. Thank you, Cancer.